Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in this video, I'm excited to share with you some amazing information about a much loved plant, and that is the olive tree. Now, we all love olives. We all love olive oil. Many of us use olive oil on a daily basis, but what I'm going to focus on today are the leaves. So olive leaf in tea, in extract form, but this is one of those most powerful plants that it's a little bit overlooked sometimes, and it's time to shine a spotlight on it. So I'm going to share a little bit of information as I was doing my research that I wrote down. That's the perfect way to open this video. So there is something deeply comforting about working with a plant that has witnessed civilizations rise and fall. If you think about where we are in human history, we are now in 2026 when I'm recording this. And we are in really interesting, chaotic times. It might be a bit of a fall of a civilization around the world, not just where I live in the US, but other places. There is definitely a surge of change that a lot of us see happening. And this is what I love about some of these ancient plants, and especially trees, is that they get to witness this. In fact, the olive tree reminds me of a ginkgo tree or a hawthorn tree. These trees live to be thousands of years old. In fact, the olive tree has been known to live up to 2,000 years old. And if you've ever seen a beautiful, old, gnarled olive tree in all of its glory, you will know that it is something very special to behold. So the olive tree has stood in the Mediterranean soil for thousands of years. Its twisted trunk weathering in the sun, the wind, the drought, and the fire. Ancient cultures did not see this as ordinary. They saw it as sacred, a symbol of peace, renewal, endurance, and divine favor. Its oil lit temple lamps, its branches crowned victors. Its leaves were used in healing rituals and protective ceremonies. And what's amazing is hidden in these leaves is one of the most powerfully quiet herbal medicinal allies that we have access to today. And what I really love is that modern research and modern science is finally catching up to what the ancients and what people have been using things like olive leaves for thousands of years. So the information that I share with you is not meant to be medical advice. This is just meant to entertain and educate you. So please do your own due diligence when it comes to using plants, plant medicine, adding something new into your diet, especially if you are on a prescription medication, because you mix a powerful medicinal herbal with a prescription medication, and sometimes the results might not be what you're looking for. So use your common sense, use your due diligence, check in with your functional medicine doctor, especially if you're on some medications. Now, here are some of my favorite health benefits of the olive leaf. So it supports healthy blood pressure. It protects the heart and the arteries from oxidative stress. It helps balance blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. It offers natural antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties. Reduces inflammation and stress in the body, supports immune resilience during seasonal challenges. Think cold and flu season, okay? Promotes healthy circulation, may protect your brain cells from oxidative damage, and supports overall metabolic wellness. So think something that would support weight loss, keeping your metabolism strong and healthy. Now, what's interesting about the olive tree and the olive leaves in particular is that it does like to grow in certain temperatures. A couple years ago, I was in Costco. They had a rack of plants. Sometimes they put exotic plants in places where they shouldn't be, but there was a rack of little buckets of olive trees. So I bought one. It was like, okay, this is awesome. And it stayed on my counter in my kitchen because you can't plant it outside and have it survive in the climate that we get here in Utah. So it stayed on my counter for a little more than 2 years until it finally was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not really growing. I'm just sitting here on the counter surviving. I would give it water. I would give it love. And what I did do in the beginning is I would pick the leaves off and I would make a tea from it because it's super, super awesome. It's delicious. It tastes a little bit like green tea and it's mild and it's got all of these beautiful health benefits. But after a while, it kind of called uncle on my counter in my kitchen, and it didn't survive. So I composted it, I put it into my garden, and we'll let that be in the spring, add some beautiful benefits and all of that beautiful energy into the vegetables that I grow this coming year. It is really, really fun to utilize something as simple as olive leaf. Now, you can get olive leaf several different ways. You can get it in the dried olive leaves, the whole leaves. You can get them from several different companies. Do a little bit of research online. It's easy to find. Make sure that you're getting an organic source, and then you can use it. You can make your own tincture. You can infuse it into an oil and put it into different skin products or skin salves, some, things you want to use on your own. Or you can take the dried leaves and make it into a tea. And that is one of my favorite things to do with it. Now, what I did about 2 years ago is I formulated a beautiful product that was designed for antimicrobial things to use during cold and flu season that would give people a beautiful option if they were a little bit nervous about using lomatium, which is our flagship herb that we are known for, and you can always get it from us, but it does come with the potential of a pretty intense one-time detox rash for some people. So a couple of years ago, I formulated a beautiful product called Pivot, and I called it Pivot 8. And there are 8 beautiful herbs in there that are designed to help you during cold and flu season, help keep your immune system strong, go after viruses and fungus and bad bacteria, and all of the things that we all need support for as our body goes through these seasons and the seasonal things that are happening. And if you think about all of the things that are happening in the world right now, one of the most beneficial things we can do for our body is to give it natural, beautiful herbal support while it's doing that. Now, besides olive leaf in the Pivot 8, it's got cat's claw, it's got astragalus, it's got lemon balm and elderberry, it's got cryptolepis, which is a beautiful antimicrobial plant from Africa. And it's just this amazing tincture, very concentrated, of herbs that support the body during cold and flu season, especially. And it does have the beautiful, amazing olive leaf in it. So this would be something I would take a look at if you want something to support your body during that time of year in particular, and you don't want the potential for the rash. And me personally, what I like to do, and I've got a little bottle of it here, this Pivot 8, kind of see. But I like to actually just rotate this around with some of my other supplements. My first go-to is of course, the lomatium, but this one is a close second, and it's really amazing because it tastes different. It feels different, especially when you're taking herbal tinctures and different herbal products, even capsules or whatever form you take them in, even sipping on herbal tea. If you are intentional and you are really strategic and thoughtful, and you have gratitude for what these plants bring to us, you will feel a different energy that comes in when you pause for a moment to understand and really appreciate the benefit that these plants are doing when you consume them. And there's a whole layer that is added onto that in the frequency. And, the plants can talk to us, and they're here to nurture us. And in fact, that's one of the things I loved about having this little olive tree that never really did much on my counter, is the energy from it was absolutely beautiful. And it's a matter of appreciating it. In fact, I would talk to it almost every day, because some of my houseplants, when I talk to them, they thrive. In fact, all of them will. But I think this little olive tree was just kind of like, this has been fun hanging with you, Jane, but thanks for having me around. And it just was kind of like, and I'm done. So what I thought I would do to kind of wrap up this video is to share with you some really beautiful ancient information I found about the olive leaf, okay? Olive leaves were found in tombs. They symbolized heavenly power and protection. Pharaohs were sometimes buried with olive branches as a sign of divine blessing. Egyptians believed certain plants carried special force and spiritual force, and olive was associated with life beyond death. Now, in ancient Greece, this was a very sacred plant to Athena, the goddess. So according to Greek mythology, the goddess Athena gifted the olive tree to humanity. The city of Athens was named in her honor after she produced the first olive tree. So its symbolism is wisdom, civilization, victory, and divine protection. Olympic champions were crowned with olive leaves, symbolizing sacred victory and honor. The olive tree was considered so sacred that damaging one in Athens was a punishable crime. That's how sacred this tree was considered. Now, in biblical traditions, it was known as for peace and covenant. So in the book of Genesis, after the great flood, a dove returned to Noah carrying an olive leaf. This is a very famous story. This signified the end of divine wrath, restoration of peace, and renewal of life. Since then, the olive branch became a universal symbol of peace. So in Christianity, olive oil from the same sacred tree is used in anointing rituals, and the Mount of Olives is central in the life of Jesus, which in Christianity, if this is part of the faith you follow, then this is something that you know, you're probably familiar with, and it's a much loved tradition. So in Jewish tradition, olive oil fueled the menorah in the temple, representing divine light. Now, in Mediterranean folk magic and protection, across the Mediterranean cultures, olive leaves were used to ward off evil spirits, protect against the evil eye, cleanse spaces spiritually, and bless homes. Burning olive leaves was sometimes done as a purification ritual. And in folk medicine, the leaves were used in teas not only for fever, but believed to remove bad humors or spiritual impurities. And it was also a symbol of immortality and endurance, which these are some of my very favorite things to learn about and to share, because we are energetic beings. We are pure sparks of divine love and light at the core of who we are, and taking care of this beautiful physical avatar, this temple that we have as a human body. The plants are there for us. And it's so special and so amazing when you tap into that, because it can change your life completely. So olive trees can live hundreds, even thousands of years. Because of this, they became symbols of eternal life, resilience, divine endurance, and sacred continuity. Some ancient trees in the Mediterranean are believed to be over 2,000 years old and are still producing fruit. I love that. Some of the mystical themes that are associated with the olive leaf are: the olive branch the meaning is peace and reconciliation. The olive wreath is a sacred victory. The olive oil is a divine blessing. And the evergreen leaves symbolize immortality. And the ancient trunk represents wisdom and endurance. So a lot of the reasons that this is considered sacred is because the olive tree can survive drought. It thrives in poor soil, and it regenerates after pruning or fire. In fact, you can heavily prune an olive tree and it comes back with strength and resilience. It will grow even more and better. So a lot of people will prune an olive tree, take the cuttings, and replant. You can plant those and they turn into their own tree. It's really beautiful. Ancient people saw this resilience as evidence of the divine favor and spiritual strength. So that is where I'm going to leave it. I think this is one of those plants that definitely requests your attention. It's a humble plant. It's beautiful. It's so packed with amazing health benefits, and it's really, really simple to use. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is take dried olive leaf, because I don't have a fresh plant that's at my disposal, but to take dried olive leaves, steep it for 5 or 10 minutes in a cup, strain the leaves off, put a tiny bit of cinnamon, a tiny bit of lemon, and a tiny bit of honey, and then enjoy the most delicious, nutritious cup of olive leaf tea. So take a look at this plant, see what you think about it, and I would love to know what your experience with this is. Is this something that you've got some dried leaves that you've been doing the same thing with? Do you have it in extract form in either capsule? Do you have a tincture? What is it that you use olive leaf for? And maybe this is something you've never used. And it would be amazing to do your research, make sure you don't have anything that would contradict you using it, and add it into your herbal apothecary. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.